Hi, hello everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining today's webinar on understanding certificates. I'm Abisola, and I'll be the host for the session. I appreciate your time and participation for today's webinar. The webinar is expected to last 1 hour and it will be recorded, and you will receive the recording by the end of the week. To all registered participants, you can all review the contents and share it with team members or whoever you'd like to share it with. I would like to encourage everybody to have an active engagement during this webinar. If you have any questions related to the topic, please just use the Q&A code underneath the Zoom link just now to ask your questions and I'll be able to respond at the end of the webinar. Just bear with me 1 second while I just share my presentation with you guys and we can begin from there. Okay, so today's webinar would be on adding and sharing certificates, as well as understanding the hierarchy level and where to add certificates, how to renew an existing certificate, utilizing automations to streamline the process, detaching certificates, and lastly, we're going to have a live Q&A. Just to start. Okay, so just to begin with, we're going to understand where to look for certificates within the system. So just to start off, we're going to go to our lettings dashboard, which always usually has a little bit of an information in regards to your certificates on there. There we go. So if you wanted to know your missing expired certificates, this can be found in this area, the compliance area on the system, as well as your expiring certificates. So in order to add a certificate onto the system, what we need to do is we need to go into the property section here and where it says certificate. We go into the certificate section, you go to add certificates. Right. So just to add the certificate, the way we would go about doing this is we would go searching for the property or the unit in which we want to relate the certificate to. So in this case, we're going to just go to test. Okay, so we would be adding our certificate to the property level for 4 Barefoot's Terrace. The certificate type, we can select from the list here. So if this was going to be a council tax exemption, this can be added from this section here, as well as if it was like a boiler insurance certificate that needs to be added onto the property level or into the unit level, the certificate type can be added from here. Then we can put an expiry date and then upload the file into here. Right. And also what we can then do is we can share this certificate with our property owners or our tenants, right? This would then be visible for the tenants on the tenant app, on the occupant app. It would also be visible for the property on the property owner app. You can always put additional notes. So if you have any notes you'd like to add to the certificate that's been added onto this section, you can always put that here. We save the certificate. Okay, and it would show on here, right? It's showing as expired because of the date that's been inserted. If I then wanted to amend this date, all I would need to do is I would go to the eye icon here, and then I would go to details, edit certificate, and then I would just change the date to 2026, save. This will remove the expired tag that's been added onto the certificate that's been added. And as you can see, that's disappeared, right? So, okay. Secondly, that's how we add and share the certificate. Secondly, understanding the hierarchy level and where to add certificates, right? So within Arthur, it's very important to know the hierarchy level. And the reason why this is because we need to know the specific area on the system in which we want to add the certificates to. So if this was a property, the certificates that you'd be adding onto the property level will be a certificate that's for the adjoining area, as well as a certificate that's for the property, the main property of that. And same goes for the unit. If we were adding a certificate onto the unit section, it would have to be a certificate that's attaining or that's specific to that unit. And in order to do that, what would go to certificate like I explained to you earlier. Okay, so what we can do is we can go to the particular property. Okay, so we go into the particular property, right? So the certificate can be added here. So we could go to the certificate section here and add a certificate onto the property. What we can also do is, if it was a certificate that needs to be added into a particular unit, what we need to do is we need to go into the unit section and find the unit that we want to add a certificate to. So in this section, let me go find in some units. Right, so this certificate here would be added to unit room 2. And what we need to do is just go to the certificate section here and add certificate. This certificate will be added onto the unit level. But if I had done this on the property level, it'd be added onto the property. So that's how we would add the certificate from the unit and the property level. Right, how to renew existing certificates. So in regards to renewing existing certificates, we can do that on going to the certificate level here. And then what we need to do is we just need to go to, so there's 2 different ways we can go about renewing or adding in a certificate. What we could possibly do is we can add a certificate, we can renew a certificate by going to edit and just putting the new dates in here and uploading the new certificate document on here. What we could also do is we could detach the certificate, right? And then add a new certificate with the new dates. So those are the 2 ways in which we can extend or renew the certificates, right? Utilizing automations to streamline the process. So what automations is very good for, and what automations can do is it can help you streamline the process of adding certificates or adding certificates onto the system. Here's how we would do that. We'd go to the automation level page, and we would go to we can create a custom trigger, which I will come to in a second. But firstly, we want to see what reminders we currently have on the system. So here, as you can see, I've created some timely reminders, which this, for example, would be a 4-week reminder for gas safety checks. And the way that would work is by me go into the add custom trigger section here. Right, and then we go to certificate. And because depending on how you want to set this up, if this is to do with a certificate that is a timely certificate, so you want it to be triggered by a time, it would be time that we select here. And then we just have to now choose our trigger. So here I would name it as certificate right? And then I would select my conditions, so certificate type. So what I can do is I can choose the exact certificate, so specific certificate in which I want to receive the automations for when it triggers, or I can just select a multiple, right? So in this case, I would choose maybe a council tax exemption, and then I would choose the expiring date. So if I wanted the expiring date to be within the next 4 weeks, so this would go as three. Minus the days. Okay. So now what I've done is I've set my conditions. And what would happen now is whenever this certificate tax, the council tax exemption is expired for 30 days, or expiring in 30 days, this will serve as a reminder for you. So if I save the trigger right now, right, I did that again. So I'll go to certificates. Apologies for the delay. Okay, so let's go to certificates again. Okay, I can see there's some work that's been done onto the system, which is stopping it from working as it should be. We have put a banner on here, apologizing for the slowness and the experiences you're having with the software. So just not to waste any more time, what I could possibly do is I could just maybe present this webinar by myself at a later date, and then send you the video by the end of the week. This way you would be able to still receive the information you need to receive in regards to this webinar. Just because I just don't think the system will work enough right now for me to be able to show you what I need to show you. I mean, if you do have any questions, what I can do is I can just allow you, yeah, if you just put your questions in the Q&A for me, what I would be able to do is I would still be able to answer your questions. It's just about showing you about the system. I would not be able to show you in the full version just because there's a few tweaks and issues going on with the system currently. But yeah, if you've got any questions, yeah, just put them into the Q&A for me and I'll be able to respond back to you. Okay, how did I get to automations page? So what I did was I went to the automations here. You can see the automation here. Okay, is it possible to explain how to move a certificate from the property level to the unit level? Absolutely. Let me try and do that for you. If I'm able to, if the system permits me, then I will. If not, then I will. You can just come onto the live chat, and I will be able to assist you with that. But to do that, we go to the certificate section here, right? So the council tax exemption certificate I created earlier. What I could do is I could just change relationships. Right? And then I select the unit in which I want to have that certificate to. So if I went to test, the options will come as property, 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 but you can see the unit here. So if I just selected the unit and update to the relationship, that would then be able to change the relationship. Is it possible to explain how to locate that? Nah, thank you. Thank you, Amanda. I usually archive my expired certificates, then add the new. Is this correct? Yes, that's just one way of going about it. Yeah, you can do it that way. Or another thing you could possibly do is you could just renew. The reason why a lot of people do it in that method or that way is so that at a later date they can still go to that expired certificate document that they have there. Yeah. I usually is there a place where all previous webinars are stored? I'm not too sure necessarily if they're stored, but what I can do is I can get that information for you, and I can respond back to you, Paul. Thank you. Just to confirm, we will receive all the info that we're supposed to be presented today on Recording Center email. Absolutely, absolutely, Christina. I'll make sure I do the recording and I'll send it to you. What do we do? What we do is archive the old one and add a new certificate. Is that okay? Simply because we wanted to have record of the old certificate. Absolutely, absolutely. That's a good way of doing it in case you do want to be able to use the previous certificates or, for legal reasons at a particular point. Can you add a custom certificate if not on the drop down? Yes. So the way I would suggest you added that, or the way I would expect you to work that around is I'd want you to choose other on here. So the certificate type, just select other, right? And in the notes, just put the certificate title or name in there and then save it. That's the best way to go about doing that. What happens to the old certificate when you update to a new one? Yeah, you remove it from the system when you so what happens to the old certificates when you update to a new certificate and date? It just removes it. Yeah, that's what it does. It just removes it. So that's why I would always, offer the option of archiving it first, and then creating a new one. Can you explain how to extend expiry date and upload a new certificate without losing previous certificates? So whenever you extend it, you remove the previous one because you're going to be required to upload a new certificate. So yeah, so you would be uploading a new certificate, and the moment you do that, you remove the previous one. So the best way to go about that is to archive the older certificate and upload the new one. How can we run a report showing expired certificates? I'm not from the reports team, but what I could do is if Jason, if you come onto the chat, I can get someone from the reports team to answer that question for you. Is there webinars for work orders too? Absolutely. I'm not sure when that will be taking place or when that will be happening. But the moment we do know, we will notify you. Thank you, Umar. With the automation, can our contractor upload certificates after it's done work? Not after the job's been completed, but before the job's been completed, absolutely they can. Where would I find it if it's archived? Okay, so if it's archived, let me go into the archive, the records here. So you open up, yeah, the logo and then archive the records over here. And if you've archived the certificate, it would show up on here. Could I please have the link for past webinars as well? Okay, absolutely. I will see if I can get a link. If not possible, I'll reach out to you, Amanda. Thank you. Can you upload certificates into the documentation rather than certificate? They can still access, for example, an EPC or AICR. Upload certificates into the documentation section. The problem that comes with doing that, right, Liam, is if you wanted to set an automations to set up as a reminder, you won't be able to put expiry dates onto the documents, but you put expiry dates onto certificates. So if you wanted to use the automation feature, you want to add it onto the certificate section rather than does it does it make much of a difference? Is it still visible for tenants? Yes, they will still be able to see it if it's added on the certificate. Sorry, if it's added on the documents, Liam. But the problem is when you're trying to then use automation to streamline the process, you'll be unable to do so as like I said, the document section or the documents, you can't really add expiry dates on there whereas with the certificate section you can. So I would always encourage you to use the certificate section when you're actually uploading certificates rather than just putting it in the documents. But either way, they would still be able to see it on the tenant app. Can we send an email reminder to the landlords with automations to renew the certificates? Absolutely. So when we're creating the automations, I'm not too sure if the system will let me. Like I said, the system is not working greatly today, right at the current moment. But if we created So with this that's already been created, a full week reminder, what we can do is we can just add an additional action, or sorry, additional trigger. So let me use this. Let me see what open currently. So if I go to certificates, expires in 30 days. So if I added an action, right, and I wanted the property owner to be notified, what I can then do is I can just apply a process and put the owner. So yeah, can you see the list of property owners? So I can put a list of my property owners in here. That yeah, if I want them to be. Does that answer the question, Amanda? Yes, thank you. Great, thank you, Amanda. On the tenancy slash unit level, if we upload a DPS certificate, and we give visibility to the tenant, is this just to the tenant in that unit or the property level? If I'm uploading a deposit certificate, only visible to the specific tenant applies for HMO setup. Okay, so just depending on your setup, like you said, Leo. So if you wanted to upload a DPS certificate and give visibility to the tenant, it has to be in the particular unit. But if the unit is being shared by two tenants, they will both be able to see it. If the unit is just shared by one tenant, or if the is just taken by one tenant, what would happen is they would be the only person that would be able to see that. Does that answer the question, Liam? You're welcome. Okay, if there's any more questions, I'm just gonna leave it for another 5 minutes. So guys, please be expecting a video for the webinar in your emails. Apologies for the system going rogue on us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the webinar, take a video of it, and then I'll send it out to you guys so you get to receive all the information that you need for today's webinar. If you've got any questions regarding certificates, as you might not have the time to speak to me in this capacity, you can do so now. So if you've got any questions regarding to the webinar or certificates, or yeah, you can just ask away right now. I'll give it another. Okay, thank you, Clara. Okay, please would you run through the best way to upload tenant visa document? How do I allocate it to a specific tenant in HMO? The visa may have expired with it, and therefore I need to create an alert to check for a new visa in due course. But the tenant may move out before this occurs. How can I ensure this alert ends with the tenancy? There is no point in it alerting me several years later after I left. Sorry, long myself. Okay, no worries, no worries, Clara. So what you could do is, okay, in order for me to be able to, specify this answer or give you the ideal answer, please come onto the live chat, Clara. Use the live chat here. Just come in here, and I'll be able to assist you. Yeah, yeah. So I'll be able to. Yeah, absolutely, Paul. So notifications for certificates, right? So if you've created an automation, or if you've created an action or trigger for something to happen when a certificate expires, if you wanted to check to see if it's running, what you need to do is you need to go into the logs. So as you can see here, if it's a notification to yourselves as a property manager, all you need to do is go to the log section here, and once you open that, there should be a log of the notification that's been sent out. You, your chat's been disabled. Are you referring to the live chat? Live chat. Okay. I've got your email, Clara. Just leave it with me till the end of this webinar. I will reach out to you via email. Is that all right? Super. Thank you. Guys, is there any more questions? Any more questions, guys? Okay. So what I'll do is, okay, actually, can you let me know what this means? Please. Created a task, notify property managers to expire and was assigned. Um, Created a task, notify property manager, certificate expiry and was assigned. I don't. Paul, unfortunately, I need to be able to see this to be able to explain it to you properly. So if you come onto the live chat as well, what I can do is, you can send me a screenshot of what you're referring to, and I'll be able to answer it adequately. So yeah, if you just come onto the live chat, I'll be able to tailor your answer, to your specific setup. Will do. Okay. How do we activate the message notification? We have just signed up to the system. How do we activate the message notification? We have just signed up to the system. Anonymous, do you mind just coming onto the live chat as well for me, please? Just so I know exactly what you're referring to. I can get a little bit more context. Okay. So yeah, again, apologies for today. I'm sorry that the system crashed out on us. What I will be doing is I will be creating a webinar, or I would be recording myself doing a webinar, and I will I will send that all to you guys that attended today. Apologies for the delay or any sort of inconvenience caused. Um, the next webinar. Okay, so what I can inform you is we will be having another webinar, and this will be. Oh yes, absolutely. So I just want to inform you of our resources. So we do have a few, articles, so not knowledge-based articles that you could use to, gain information about certificates and just to understand a little bit more where to add it and how to add it. A lot of this information can be found on our knowledge-based articles. We also have a YouTube channel in which you can go on to, and there's a video on there on how to add certificates. So yeah, you could definitely make use of those. We do have another webinar which will be taking place on the 27th of March at 11 a.m. And the topic will be how you can save precious time and streamline your operations with mail merge features and digital signatures. Yeah, so if you would like to join that webinar, absolutely sign up, and I'll be seeing you there. Okay. Thank you so much for today, guys. Apologies for the inconvenience caused. I understand that you wanted more information in regards to added understanding certificates, but I've tried to do the best I possibly can. Okay, sorry, Liam, I just saw a question from you. Just bear with me. I know this is unrelated to the webinar, but how can I access application form? Liam, please come onto the live chat. If you come to the live chat, I'll be able to answer that for you and help you out with your query. Thank you, Jocelyn. So if you've got any questions in regards to certificates, please don't hesitate to come onto the live chat. We'll be able to help you on there. But it's just the information not being able to be given by the webinar. But I appreciate you guys turning up. Thank you so much for taking time out today to come to this webinar. And I'll see you the next one. Thank you so much.